In October 2025, a Royal Australian Air Force P-8A Poseidon was conducting a routine surveillance patrol over the South China Sea when something unacceptable happened. A Chinese Sukhoi Su-35 closed in at close proximity and released flares near the aircraft during the intercept. Australia publicly called the interaction unsafe and unprofessional. The pilots held their course, because this is the modern reality of maritime surveillance in the Western Pacific. Even when one aircraft is being pressured up close, the larger sensor picture doesn't disappear. Above the weather and far beyond the horizon, a high-altitude system like the MQ-4C Triton can be building the wide-area track picture, recording, correlating, and pushing time-critical cues into US and allied networks. Here's what China is trying to figure out, and what the Pentagon doesn't want them to know. How do you blind an enemy that has eyes everywhere at once? The MQ-4C Triton and P-8A Poseidon don't just team up. They're designed as a Navy family of systems, a high-altitude, low-altitude maritime ISR stack built to find, fix, and support targeting across huge ocean areas. In the Philippine Sea, where the next great power crisis could detonate fast, this combination is rewriting the operational tempo of maritime intelligence. Today, we're going to break down exactly how this ISR stack works, the sensor architecture that makes it possible, the coverage math that makes commanders breathe easier, and the gaps Beijing is hunting for. Let's get into it. For decades, the United States owned the oceans. If something floated, submerged, or flew over open water, American sensors could find it. Satellites, patrol aircraft, and surface ships created maritime domain awareness, the ability to know what's happening across millions of square miles of ocean. But here's the problem. That architecture was optimized for a different era, built to track Soviet submarines through well-known choke points, not for what China is doing now. The People's Liberation Army Navy has become the world's largest navy by number of ships, and its scale keeps expanding. And that expansion isn't just hulls, it's reach. China's surface fleet fields modern vertical launch systems and a family of anti-ship cruise missiles with ranges measured in the hundreds of nautical miles, not thousands. And it continues to test longer-range anti-ship strike concepts. Meanwhile, under the surface, China's submarine force is modernizing and operating in a theater so vast that traditional surveillance methods struggle to stay persistent everywhere at once, and the old workhorse was aging out. The P-3C Orion, the backbone maritime patrol aircraft that served the Navy for decades, was increasingly constrained by airframe fatigue and sustainment realities as the coverage problem kept growing. So the answer came in two parts. First, Boeing delivered the P-8A Poseidon, derived from the 737 line, built to bring modern sensors, speed, and networked warfare into maritime patrol aviation. But here's what made the real difference. The Navy didn't just replace the Orion's mission profile, they split it. Persistent high-altitude, wide-area surveillance would go to an unmanned system that can stay airborne for a day at a time without crew fatigue. The MQ-4C Triton, a naval high-altitude, long-endurance system derived from the Global Hawk line, handles the find and the wide-area queuing. The Poseidon handles what comes next: track, classify, and if necessary, prosecute. Remember that detail, because what China is discovering is that disrupting one piece doesn't automatically collapse the other. To understand why this partnership matters, you need to understand what existed before it. Maritime patrol aviation goes back to the earliest days of air power. Spotters hunting submarines in World War I, aircraft becoming submarine killers in World War II, and the mission expanding through the Cold War into a full-spectrum blend of surface surveillance, ASW, and signals collection. For the US Navy, the P-3 Orion defined that era. Sonobuoys, a tail-mounted mad boom, and long endurance, but with human limits baked in. You can stretch the aircraft. You can't stretch crew tactical effectiveness indefinitely. Rotations happen, gaps happen. The Navy's Triton plan also changed over time. Early concepts envisioned a much larger buy and more global orbits. The program of record ultimately shifted to 27 MQ-4C aircraft and a 3-orbit operating concept. Operationally, those orbits have been aligned to support major fleet areas: 7th Fleet in the Pacific, 6th Fleet in Europe, 5th Fleet in the Middle East region. But here's what matters. Sensor evolution and networking sharply increase what each orbit can do. The Triton's trajectory has also been configuration-driven. The Navy and industry emphasize the upgraded IFC-4 multi-intelligence direction as a key step toward IOC-level operations. And when IOC was formally announced for Triton in September 2023, it wasn't just a paperwork milestone, it marked the fielding of an operationally relevant, upgraded capability, set for Fleet Maritime ISR. The P-8A Poseidon, meanwhile, achieved IOC in late 2013 and began operational deployments as the Navy transitioned away from the P-3C. And worldwide, the platform's adoption has grown. Boeing notes that more than 170 additional P-8s have been delivered to 8 operators and counting. This is the point. Together, the platforms create something neither can deliver alone: persistent wide area find, paired with rapid manned classification and prosecution. Now let's talk about how these systems actually work together. The MQ-4C Triton operates above 50,000 feet and is built for high-altitude, long-endurance maritime ISR. Its design premise is simple: stay up long enough, see wide enough, and feed the fleet fast enough that the ocean stops being a hiding place. A key sensor is the ZPY-3 Multi-Function Active Sensor radar. At high altitude, Triton can surveil on the order of 2.7 million square miles in a mission, roughly 7 million square kilometers, depending on mode and conditions. That's the scale shift. Not watch every ocean at once, but compress the search problem so commanders aren't constantly guessing where the picture goes dark. And Triton doesn't just see, it sorts. Maritime radar modes and classification tools help discriminate contacts, while onboard systems can correlate cooperative shipping data, including automatic identification system AIS inputs, to flag anomalies. Then comes the upgrade path that matters for the future: the IFC-4 Multi-Intelligence Direction. The Navy has described IFC-4 as bringing an enhanced multi-mission sensor capability as part of the broader maritime ISR transition plan, paired with fleet operations intended to expand what Triton can collect and distribute. Operating at those altitudes also changes the tactical geometry. Triton sits above most weather, extends line of sight dramatically, and forces an adversary to solve a harder problem than just harass a manned patrol aircraft at medium altitude. That doesn't make it invulnerable, but it raises the cost to meaningfully disrupt coverage. Now here's where the Poseidon comes in. When Triton identifies something that needs closer inspection, an anomalous surface track, a suspicious pattern of life, a contact worth prosecuting, it cues the P-8A. The Poseidon brings a different tool set: rapid response, closer in sensing, and weapons employment. The P-8A's ANAPY-10 radar supports high-resolution imaging and maritime search, and its EOIR turret provides full-motion video for positive ID in visible and infrared. And then there's the core ASW payload. The Poseidon can carry up to 129 sonobuoys to seed an area with acoustic sensors and build a multi-static picture underwater. The P-8 doesn't carry a magnetic anomaly detector like the old P-3. That's a design choice tied to weight, aerodynamics, and mission systems trade-offs. Instead, the platform leans heavily on sonobuoy fields, onboard processing, and networked fusion to maintain track quality. And if the contact goes hostile, the P-8A is armed. It can carry Mark 54 lightweight torpedoes and can employ anti-ship weapons such as harpoon variants, depending on configuration and operator integration. This isn't just reconnaissance, it's a sensor shooter node when required. Finally, the connective tissue: data links and networks. Link 16 is part of how the P-8 shares tactical tracks with ships and allied forces, while Triton's value is amplified by its ability to distribute time-critical intelligence to fleet and combatant commanders through the Navy's command and control architecture. Now picture it operationally. It's 0400 local in the Philippine Sea. A Triton orbiting at high altitude flags an unexpected surface contact pattern. No cooperative broadcast, abnormal behavior, something that doesn't fit the day's expected traffic model. That track pushes into the network. A P-8 launches from a forward base, gets on station, and confirms ID with closer-in sensors. Now the commander doesn't have a mystery. They have a track, a classification, a decision. That's the high-low stack in action. So what does this mean for China? It means the hiding space shrinks. China's submarine force is modernizing, including new variants such as the Type 093B guided missile nuclear attack submarine that the US Department of Defense has publicly referenced as part of China's undersea development path. But submarines only work when they're hidden, and the moment a submarine transitions from sanctuary to open ocean operations, it enters a surveillance contest. where wide area cueing can steer manned assets to the right box faster, and acoustic fields can hold a track long enough to turn maybe into known. China's counter-ISR response has also emphasized aggressive interception and intimidation, exactly like the unsafe October 2025 interaction Australia described publicly. The message is clear. We can disrupt your surveillance, but disruption isn't denial. As long as the wider track picture keeps flowing, especially when the unmanned orbit is still feeding cues, the tactical picture can remain coherent, and the Navy is scaling this enterprise. The service established a second Triton squadron, Unmanned Patrol Squadron 11, to expand operational capacity and employ the IFC-4 Triton configuration for persistent ISR in support of fleet commanders. There are gaps, of course. A reduced program of record means coverage isn't literally everywhere at once. Severe weather can complicate routing and persistence, and the system's dependence on navigation, satellite connectivity, and data pathways creates real vulnerabilities to jamming, spoofing, or satellite disruption in a high-end fight. That's why high-latitude operations and navigation resiliency matter. In 2024, Northrop Grumman highlighted Arctic navigation work to demonstrate Triton operations where conventional navigation methods become more challenging. Here's the strategic math Beijing can't ignore. The stack doesn't need perfection. It needs persistence. Every hour a Chinese platform operates under a coherent surveillance picture is an hour it's harder to achieve surprise. And in a conflict, surveillance advantage becomes targeting advantage. Missiles have range, but they need coordinates. This stack helps generate them. Where does this go next? The Navy's IFC-4 path is explicitly about expanding Triton's multi-mission sensor capability to support the broader maritime ISR transition plan. And one of the biggest strategic shifts is that Triton is helping assume missions once associated with specialized manned reconnaissance. The clearest proof point, the EP-3E Ares II era, is ending. The Navy retired the last EP-3E in early 2025, and the fleet is shifting toward distributed, networked alternatives. Allied capability is also moving forward. Australia is acquiring 4 MQ-4C Tritons through a cooperative program with the US Navy, building a forward surveillance layer that pairs naturally with its Poseidon fleet. And the technology doesn't stand still. Future steps will keep pushing autonomy, better prioritization, and faster correlation, so operators spend less time finding and more time deciding. The unresolved question is what happens when persistent surveillance meets full-spectrum anti-access. Jamming at scale, cyber pressure, deception, and the kind of contested electromagnetic environment that turns data into a battlefield. Remember that October 2025 intercept we opened with? The Australian P-8 held its course, the crew completed their mission, and the larger point remains. The stack is built so that one pressured platform doesn't automatically erase the wider picture. That's the capability China fears most. Not because they can't see it, but because they know it sees enough for long enough to make surprise a lot harder. The high-low ISR stack isn't just surveillance, it's presence, it's deterrence. And in the waters of the Western Pacific, it's why American and Allied commanders can say with confidence, we can build and hold the track. If you found this breakdown valuable, hit subscribe and the notification bell. We're going to keep covering the technologies reshaping modern warfare. Drop your questions in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.